Just like the Ghostbusters, I'm back. So it's been an interesting path to the reboot of Ghostbusters. Every trailer that was released was met with a massive amount of negative feedback. And then you release that terrible theme song by Fall Out Boy. And don't get me wrong, I like Fall Out Boy. I've been to one of their concerts before. Now, they're not the problem. It's that annoying mixture and beat, and then you throw Missy Elliott into it, and it just brings it to a whole nother level of garbage. Now, most people think I'm going to come out and say that this movie is just complete trash, and it's not a good film. Now, honestly, it is not a terrible movie, but it's not a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's middle of the road. And that's how I'm going to break up my review. I'm going to start with the positive, then go to the mixed, and then go to the negative. So let's start off with the positive.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh.
The film kicks off with a great opening sequence that's reminiscent of the original, and it sets the tone perfectly for this new film. Too bad it doesn't stick with that, but we'll get to that later. Next, the gear and gadgets in this film are awesome. You have power gloves, you have grenades that are spirit bombs or whatever. It sucks the ghost up is really cool. And then you also have proton packs that have dual-wielding guns that they can pull out. Really cool stuff, and it looks great as well. Lastly, let's talk about Chris Hemsworth. He is definitely the best character in this movie. He plays their secretary. He's dumb as a box of rocks, but he's hilarious. His chemistry with the Ghostbusters works really well.
Kevin, can you answer the phone?
I can't. It's in the fish tank.
The one on the desk.
Oh, that one.
Now let's get into the mixed, where the majority of my review is going to take place because I felt mixed on so many things about this movie, whether it be the humor, the cast, to the ghosts themselves. For the humor, the movie couldn't decide whether it wanted to do toilet humor and dick jokes or wanted to do well-written dialogue that was actually funny. So it straddled that line. Half the time I was laughing because it was well-written, and half the time it was just lowbrow humor that didn't work. For the Ghostbusters themselves, they all worked at different times and were funny at different moments, but they all, at one point, were annoying or too over the top. I'm going to rank the Ghostbusters from my favorite to least, starting with Kate McKinnon being number 1, to Kristen Wiig, to Melissa McCarthy, to Leslie Jones. Kate McKinnon, who I really liked in this movie, was the most unique and the funniest, but Leslie Jones, most people were like, oh my god, she's going to yell the whole time in this movie? Not really, but it sure feels like it. And for the ghosts themselves, the CGI special effects looked great on some of them. Slimer, he looked great. And then the giant new Marshmallow Man, lame as hell. Now to the negatives of this movie.
Fire!
Oh, what?
Now, what wasted cameos by original stars in the film? None of them were significant. Bill Murray felt like he didn't even want to be there. What's the point of having them in the movie if they're just going to be underutilized? Another problem with this movie is the editing. There's some jarring shots and cuts in this that it just looks like poor planning, or they just didn't have the footage, because you go from a character spaced like this, holding something up or whatever, to a close-up of someone's face, and then back to that character, and now they're like this, and they are just doing something else. It's really jarring and noticeable, and it really just takes me out of the film. And the third act for this film is just a disaster. It's just, they tried to go really action heavy. They did like special effects, a ton of ghosts, and it just didn't work, and it felt out of place, and I was neither laughing or smiling. I was kind of just sitting there like, this just looks okay, and it's not that impressive. And it just went on for way too long. They try to pay a lot of homage to the original, especially during the ending, and it just doesn't work and comes off as lazy storytelling. For these reasons, I'm going to give Ghostbusters a 5 out of 10 reels. This is not a film I really can embrace or even tell you it's worth the price of admission. I mean, if this comes on Netflix or you're flipping the TV channels and you see it, that's when you should watch it. Now, that being said, I would totally go see a second film and see if they learn from their mistakes in this one. I mean, the cast is talented and they are passionate about it. I just feel like the script let them down. Thanks for watching, guys. This is The Real Report. I'm going to try to get things back on track and do at least one movie review a week. I love going to the movies. I love editing, and this is just two of my passions coming together. So I'm going to try to keep this going and get this started again. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your viewership, and catch you next time.